All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now that the regular season is over in Major League Baseball, and it truly was an exciting one, it's time to get it on for October and the postseason. 10 teams remain, and it's all about that chase to hoist up the coveted World Series championship. Now, I'm going to start tonight about the teams in the American League. And this is very intriguing this year for the American League because I really see it as any of these five teams that are entering the postseason this year can get hot and win it all. I want to start off with the Tampa Bay Rays, the number one seed. And the Rays, they've been the best team in the American League all season long. And they've only picked up where they left off from last season. Remember, Tampa was so dominant in 2020 en route to winning their second American League pennant in franchise history. This year, the Rays got better. They won 100 games. And for me, what is so telling about that is the fact that Tampa did this in the American League East. We saw four teams this year in the American League East win at least 91 games. And of course, three of them are in the postseason. But Tampa was able to distance themselves from everybody else. And, that's a credit to their manager, Kevin Cash, and his front office as they put together their system and their formula for success. And when you think about the Rays, they don't have the household names, but these guys that simply go out there and get the job done. You look at this lineup that consists of the likes of Brandon Lowe, Mike Zunino, Austin Meadows, Randy Arozarena, Nelson Cruz, the veteran slugger who was picked up prior to the trade deadline from the Minnesota Twins, and of course, Joey Wendell. These guys just continuously go out there and find ways to get those clutch hits. And the same thing with the pitching. I know that you're going to see some youngsters that are going to have a big time say in what the Rays do or don't do this postseason in regards to the pitching. You think about Shane McClanahan and then, of course, Shane Baz, just two to name the least. But the bottom line is you look at this Rays club, and this can go a lot of ways. And the reason why I say it is this: the Rays can get on a run. They could also be done in the divisional round because they're going to face either the Red Sox or the Yankees, whoever survives the AL wildcard game tomorrow. And depending on how that goes, of course, you think about the familiarity with all of these clubs from the same division. You basically just throw the rule book out of the window when they play. But two other teams that I want to talk about as their divisional round matchup is set, and I'm talking about the Houston Astros and the Chicago White Sox. And the Astros will have home field advantage in this series. But you look at it, two veteran managers, two older managers who know how to get it done in the month of October. You look at Dusty Baker, who is the skipper for the Astros, and you think about all of the teams that he's taken to the postseason. He took the San Francisco Giants to the playoffs on multiple occasions. He got the Chicago Cubs to the NLCS. He got the Washington Nationals to the postseason, the Cincinnati Reds as well, and now the Houston Astros. And this is a second year in which Baker has gotten the Astros to the postseason. And when you think about the Astros, I know that there are people who don't want to see them here, but like it or not, they're back in the playoffs for the fifth consecutive year, their fourth American League West championship in the last 4 years. And of course, this is a seasoned club when you think about Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Michael Brantley in that lineup. Of course, Jordan Alvarez is having a big year, but I want to see what the pitching for the Astros is going to do. Who's going to step up aside from Lance McCullers Jr. and really hold it down on that mound here in October. The Astros can be dangerous in the playoffs, but so can be the team that they're facing in the divisional round in the Chicago White Sox. Tony La Russa, his second time around as a skipper of the Southsiders. This guy, he's a Hall of Famer. We saw him win a World Series championship, a couple of World Series championships with the St. Louis Cardinals. Of course, he won one with the Oakland A's as their manager as well. And now he's back in his first year with the White Sox. They won the Central. Of course, they won the Central going away because the Central was not a strong division this year. So I think this is going to be a good test for the White Sox in this series. A lot of contrast, and that's what you got to love. I give the pitching edge to the White Sox if Carlos Rodon can come out there and have an impact. Of course, he's been out with a shoulder injury, but you look at Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, and Lance Lynn in this rotation. You got Liam Hendricks coming out of the bullpen. First time in the postseason for Jose Abreu. He's been a good slugger for the White Sox for a long time. Pardon me, the second time rather. The Chicago did make the postseason last year. And you think about a guy like Tim Anderson, he could step up and have an impact in this series as well. This series can go either way, but I'm going to give the edge to the White Sox just off of their pitching. And I think they really have something to prove this year. But then you look at the wild card game tomorrow night. And, two of the best, longest storied rivals in baseball are the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees. They've met in the postseason a couple of times. You think about, I know some people will consider it postseason, some people won't, but you think about 1978 with that play-in game. And of course, the infamous Bucky Dent homer at Fenway Park. And the Yankees rode that wave of momentum to their second consecutive World Series championship. These teams met in 1999 in the LCS, and the Yankees got the best of the Red Sox in 5 games. Of course, the epic classic in 2003, where the Yankees won in 7 games, and then 2004, where the Red Sox were able to reverse the curse as they became the first and only team in MLB playoff history to erase a 3-0 deficit in a series to come back to win it. And then, of course, 2018, when Boston won the World Series. And that was an interesting year because the Yankees won 100 games that year, but they didn't win the division because the Red Sox won 108. And then, of course, Boston ran through the Yankees in the divisional round. This time around, it's going to be very interesting because when you look at the Yankees, it's feast or famine. And I've been saying this for the past couple of months. The Yankees are a team that I could see them getting bumped in the wild card game, but I could also see this team making a legit run at the World Series. And we've seen that streakiness from the Yankees. They got on that run recently. They won 13 games in a row. Next thing you know, they lost 11 out of 12. And then they got hot again coming down the stretch in the final week of the season to get to this point. So you look at Aaron Boone. He, looks like he has a laid back approach, but he knows how to get on his guys. But the thing is, you look at Garrett Cole on that mound, and Garrett Cole has to be the Garrett Cole that the Yankees paid him to be in that wild card game, because what we've seen with Garrett Cole, he can be on at times, but he can be off at times as well. And the Yankees cannot afford for Garrett Cole to be off of his game tomorrow night, because the Red Sox have a lineup that can really hit. They can go in a funk themselves, but they can also come up with the big hits. We've seen it all season long from Rafael Devers. JD Martinez, his availability is going to be important because he injured that ankle yesterday in the Red Sox victory over the Washington Nationals, which got them to this point. But he's a big bat. You think about Hunter Renfroe and then rookie Bobby Dahlbeck. This guy, he doesn't hit for average, but when he hits a home run, it's an impactful home run. And I say that because he really puts a dent in the baseball, and, the fans got to stand up because it's going deep. Alex Verdugo, of course, he was part of that trade that sent Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, and then Kyle Schwarber. This guy, another bat who the Red Sox picked up from the Nationals. But, this guy's making an impact. But for Boston, credit to Alex Cora. He's gotten this team back on track. Like I said, they Red Sox haven't been flashy this year, but they simply won and they survived. And that's a credit, because getting to the wild card and getting a postseason spot in the American League this year, especially coming out of that Eastern Division, really said something. Because, we saw how hot and heavy the competition was coming down the stretch. Nathan Eovaldi, he's been on and he hasn't been on. And Chris Sale is coming back from that Tommy John surgery. So he's still not the Chris Sale that people saw him as a few years ago. And what could hurt the Red Sox, their bullpen has been very shaky. And what we've seen coming down the stretch from the Yankees is their lineup has been coming up with the big hits late. And we saw that during the last week of the season, rather, especially when the Yankees were able to take 2 out of 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays, which got them to this point. And of course, going to Fenway in their last trip there and sweeping the Red Sox. And with that said, the Yankees are going to lean on the likes of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Of course, Aaron Judge got the walk-off hit to get the Yankees in the postseason in game 162 when they beat the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday. But nonetheless, I'm going to give the Yankees the edge in this game is due to the fact that I really don't believe in the Red Sox bullpen. But with that said, any of these teams can get hot. It's kind of like, pick your poison. You look at it, the Rays have been good all season long. But you know what? They're going to stick to their formula, their recipe for success as far as what's gotten them to this point. The Astros, believe it or not, they've been flying under the radar this year because most people have been focusing on the American League Eastern teams beating each other up. The White Sox, I think they're finally going to get tested, and it's going to be interesting to see. I know Tony La Russa is going to have his guys ready, so I really think I know a lot of people are going to look at the series between the Rays and whoever wins that wild card game, or a potential Dodgers-Giants series in the NLDS. But I really think that the White Sox-Astros series has the potential to be one of the better series of the playoffs. So I'm zeroing in on that one. The wild card game tomorrow night is going to be very interesting. If the Yankees can get a lead on the Red Sox early and take that crowd out of it at Fenway Park, advantage Yankees. And if the Yankees can find a way to get to the Red Sox bullpen early, huge advantage for the Yankees. So I think there's a lot to sit down and watch and analyze for this upcoming postseason in the American League. Like I said, any one of these 5 teams can get hot and make a run. So it's going to be interesting to see who's able to do it, who's able to survive, and who is able to win the American League pennant. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.